This is the fifth quarter show on YouTube. Rick Zamperin with you. It's a special off-season edition with, well, you see him on the screen, Stavros Katsantonis, safety with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Stavros, how are you?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. Having a great off season so far, and just chomping at the bit to get back to Hamilton.
Where do we find you today? Are you on the left coast?
Yes, yeah. I'm in an undisclosed Southern California beach location. Actually, just for the next few weeks, and then I'm actually moving out full time to Hamilton starting January 1st. So excited to be out in the city. Hamilton's been a great home to me the last 4 years. So yeah, just excited to get back out there this off season and spend a winter out there.
There's going to be a lot of Ticats fans who are ecstatic with that there's another star player living in the community. I think Ticats fans get a real kick out of that, and that's really, and a lot of superstars over the years have done that, from Angelo Mosca to John Barrow to you name it. They've kind of done it. What led to that decision?
I think just it's something I've been wanting to do kind of the last couple of years. Obviously, it's tough. My wife works back in the States as well, but having a little bit more flexibility in her job and stuff like that has kind of allowed us to make the move there full time. And I just felt like it was the right thing to do. At this point where I'm at in my career, and like I said, Hamilton's just been an awesome place to me. It's the only place I've been my whole CFL career, and I've come to the city's really grown on me. I've come to know just I have my little places that I go to when I'm there. It really feels like kind of my home away from home. And now it'll be my new home this off season. So yeah, a lot of things went into it, but like I said, it just feels like the right thing to do. And I've loved every moment of my time in Hamilton to this point.
What is your go-to stop in the Hammer, whether it's grocery store, restaurant, cafe?
Yeah. I think there's a few different things. I like coffee. Obviously, that's kind of been one of the things that I've been a little bit getting into a little bit more. I think Taylor Powell's been a little bit of an influence on that because he's a big coffee guy as well. So the Cannon is one of the places I like, at least from a coffee standpoint. The Mulberry down, I think it's on James Street. But I mean, there's endless amounts of coffee shops in Hamilton. I also like to golf a little bit. I know that's not really going to be something that is done over the off season, but playing some of that great Hamilton golf courses. I mean, you got the Chidot course, you got Willow Valley, Coketown Woods, so many great golf courses in Hamilton. I think it almost rivals some of the stuff that we have out here in California. The only thing is you can't play year round, so that's I think where California can beat out Ontario on that end. But like I said, those Ontario summers and the weather there during that time from about May to early October, it's a great time there, and it's really beautiful scenery.
I know during the season, Bo Levi Mitchell and Taylor Powell actually going a little bit back and forth in regards to their golf game. Who is the best golfer on the team?
Oh man, I think Taylor probably is. Bo probably doesn't want to say it, but Taylor's probably the best of us. I mean, the guy, if he wasn't a professional quarterback, he probably would be working on his tour card right now, getting into the PGA or winning the Korn Ferry or something like that. He's actually really good. He'll say he's not good, and he'll say, "Oh, my handicap isn't as low as what it probably may seem," but he may sandbag it sometimes just to get a little extra money out of guys. But no, he's great. They're both really good golfers, and quarterbacks usually are, right. They just have that really good mechanics, from the hand-eye coordination and all that sort of stuff. So. But always fun just being able to hang out with those guys and just bond with your teammates a little bit more off the field.
So apart from golfing and apart from house hunting, what has your off season looked like?
So far, I mean, just really just kind of, I mean, the off season usually starts, obviously right when the season ends, right? A lot of it is just kind of recuperating from the season. I mean, the CFL season is a long, it's 18 games, 21 weeks plus 2 preseason games and 3 weeks of training camp. So, definitely taking care of the body those first couple weeks, making sure that, you're healing up from all the bumps and bruises that you've gotten from the season. And then from there, coordinating with our strength conditioning coach, Marcellus Bowman, who, is a great coach, been a great mentor for me over the last couple of years since we've had him. Really enjoy doing his off-season programs and really feel like they've prepared me each year to, play at a very high level and, play at an available level, right? He really puts a lot of focus on the availability portion of the game. And I think that's, where he comes into one of the best in the game. But now we're starting to ramp things up. really get into kind of that strength building phase, back into really the full flow running and stuff like that and ramping things up. So, it's an exciting time, and even more exciting that I'll be able to kind of do it all in house, with the great facilities that we have at Tim Hortons Field.
Some fans may not know that you have a really cool backstory and how a guy who was born in Bakersfield, California can qualify or line up as a Canadian on the CFL field. Your dad came to the States from Canada. He won the Vanier Cup with Calgary in '88.
Yep.
27 years later, you do the same thing with UBC. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, no, it's always a cool story, when I'm able to share that sort of stuff. Like I tell a lot of people, I wouldn't be up in Canada if it wasn't for my dad. I mean, aside from the Canadian citizenship stuff and all that, coming out of high school, I had the same dream that every American kid has, even Canadian kid has, right? You want to play Division I football. It's the best of the best, and then have your shot to go to the NFL one day. But unfortunately, that wasn't working out for me, and I decided I was just going to walk on at the University of Washington. Kind of had everything aligned, going into I think towards the end of my senior year of high school. I think this was like January or February, of my senior year. So I'd already completed my senior season of football, and had my sights set on that. And then my dad kind of was like, "Oh, would you ever consider going up and playing in Canada?" And I kind of shrugged it off. Didn't really think much of it. I thought, "Oh, well, it's Canadian football." Like everyone thinks, right? Like, it's Canadian football. It's, not as good, or,
Yeah.
don't feel like I want to go do that. And, he ended up sending my film up to Coach Orzetti and Coach Nill, at the University of British Columbia, also to the University of Calgary, to Wayne Harris and some guys that he played with, back in his Calgary days as well. And I ultimately just decided on UBC. It was basically a spitting image of University of Washington. I think even a better campus, up at Point Grey. And just never looked back from there. It was a crazy 4 years that I had there. And like I said, I owe a lot of it to my dad, because I wouldn't have come up to Canada if it wasn't for him kind of pushing me and initiating that, I guess, kind of being my first agent, sending all my film to Canada and fighting for me to get a scholarship.
That's what dads do. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Just before your adventures at UBC, you went to high school with Jordan Love, who's the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Do you still keep in touch?
Yeah, off and on with Jordan. I mean, sometimes when we're back in Bakersfield, if our schedules are aligned, we usually train at the same place. You get 1 or 2 training sessions in and reconnect and talk about old high school tales, and obviously how he's doing. It's been great to see his success, in the NFL. From seeing who he was when I was in high school with him. Just a skinnier, lengthy kid, but he could throw the ball and got his scholarships, got his opportunities, and made the most of it. So couldn't be more proud of him. Another one of my high school teammates, Chris Barnes, who's a linebacker for the Arizona Cardinals, also played for the Packers for a little bit, with Jordan as well. So being able to see your teammates that you played with have success, you can't be anything but happy for those guys.
Was it in high school or university when you earned the nickname the Bakersfield Bandit?
Oh yeah, that would have been my freshman year at UBC. Just kind of one of the media, I think, interns that was there at the time, was calling the games and stuff like that, and calling the Bakersfield Bandit after I think I got my first interception or something like that, and it kind of stuck throughout my university career. It's kind of transition. I know some of the 3 down guys still refer to me as the Bakersfield Bandit. This kind of transition now since I've been in the CFL. As you go through different phases in your career and stuff like that. But yeah, that Bakersfield Bandit name came from those early UBC days.
I will admit I was snooping on your Instagram over the last number of days, knowing that this interview was going to take place, and I came across a really succinct and generic, but I think very meaningful description on your profile: athlete, God, family, and football. I know you're very spiritual, very religious. Was that a part of your upbringing, or did that come to you later on?
Yeah, definitely. It's always been something that's been my upbringing since I came on this earth, I think, or at least when I first was able to formulate thoughts. My family's always been a very strong Christian family, and I come from a Greek Orthodox background, baptized Greek Orthodox as a young kid from my Greek descent through my father. And yeah, it's always been one of the things that was at the center of our family, is at the center of my family now with myself and my wife. And, it's always guided me in the right direction. And, I really owe all my faith and all that to where I'm at today. I don't think I would be playing in the CFL as a smaller guy, right? I mean, I'm only about 5'9", 5'10". When you put the cleats on at the end of the day. So, but a lot of people see who I am on the field and just say, well, I don't know how you make these type of plays, and I always attribute it to to my faith and to this path and journey that God has provided in front of me, and definitely have been very blessed throughout my life. So yeah, I would definitely say it's one of the integral parts of my life, and something that I hold at the center.
That's pretty cool. Also pretty cool was your exploits during Grey Cup week. You had a number of amazing videos. You got to go behind the scenes with things. How much did you enjoy that? And is there a future in broadcasting for you?
Oh man, it was such a fun experience. I think I told so many people this. A lot of people who were first time going to Grey Cups and stuff like this. This was my second as a PA rep and being able to kind of experience the whole week. Obviously, I played in the one in 21, so you don't really get to experience I guess everything that goes on during Grey Cup week. You obviously want to play in it. That's the ultimate goal, play in it and win it. But being able to go to that week and just see how great our league is, how intermingled the fans are, and how well they all travel. Right, you have all these different fans coming from across all the country. Some people coming up from the U.S. I met a guy that's a Winnipeg Blue Bomber fan. He was coming up from the Bay Area in California. I was like, well, like how are you guys just coming up to this? And
Yeah.
we've been doing this for the last 20 years. You meet people who are like, oh yeah, this is my 30th Grey Cup, and just to be able to experience that and just see the fans, get involved with the media stuff. It's a really cool thing. I definitely see myself, in some sort of, whether it's broadcasting or media personality, potentially down the road. If not that, maybe something in the front office, whether it's personnel or something like that, or coaching. I haven't made up my mind exactly on that right now. The focus is playing the best football that I can, being the best teammate I can be, during these times, and just keep creating a legacy in Hamilton.
I know you've only been here for a few years, but this franchise is now undergoing its longest Grey Cup drought in franchise history, and a history that dates back, over 150 years. It certainly weighs on the fans, and it probably weighs on a bunch of the people, at Tim Hortons Field. How much does it weigh on you, and how forward are you looking for potentially 2025 to be a year where the curse, the hex, the drought, whatever you want to call it, comes to an end?
Yeah, definitely. I think whenever you're, a part of a like you say, a drought or anything like that, the goal is always to be the one that breaks it, right? Coming in my rookie year in 21, where you're just trying to get your bearings together, earn your respect and all that, and then you go on this, crazy run. We end up in the Grey Cup. It's I think it's my second start, my CFL career is that Grey Cup game, and to have that one go the way that it did, obviously you want to win it. You believe that you were going to win it, even up until the last kind of minutes there. And then you lose, and it's like, oh my goodness, like this is, one of the worst feelings ever. I can imagine the fans that were all there, and it's, still a great experience for me, just to see how the city was out there, at a home Grey Cup. It was one of the loudest games I've probably played in my career. And just like I said, just to see that sea of black out there is something I'm looking forward to. Again, obviously not in being able to have a home Grey Cup, at least in the near future, but fighting for a home playoff game. I always tell the guys, when we're working early on in the season, like the most important games are those ones at the start. I mean, every game's important, but getting those games under your belt at the start, so you can put yourself in a position to have that home field advantage, because not everyone wants to come down to Tim Hortons Field, and play in that hostile environment, because it is one of the most, I would say, feared places to play, probably in the CFL. But yeah, I would say as far as the drought, standpoint, it does weigh on me, I would say. But I use a lot of it as motivation, just to, every day that I'm working, it's like, well, I'm working towards, something. It's not just, hey, I'm a professional football player and I'm playing this game just because I'm getting paid and all that. I think the fans aspect plays a lot into it, right? Because I always say, if we were, if we didn't have the fans show up to the games, we would just be kids playing in the park. So, being able to hopefully be the team, or be one of the players that brings the championship back to the city would be, it is something that's on my list, and would be something that I would remember for the rest of my life. I'm sure everyone in Hamilton would remember it for the rest of their lives. And you've seen different droughts break over the years. With Winnipeg having their drought break back in 19, unfortunately, against Hamilton. But you even look into down into the other professional leagues. I was watching the Boston Red Sox documentary when they won back in, I think it was 2004, and their huge drought that they had and their battle with the Yankees. And then you look at some of these other teams down in the NFL, right? You got the Cowboys, the Niners. The Niners are one of those teams that have been to the Super Bowl multiple times, since they last won it, but haven't been able to get over the hump. So, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, right? There's so many dynamics from the player standpoint, coaching standpoint, personnel, the fans, all the way down to the ticket salesman, right? There, it's a full all-in, type of thing. And, we're just hoping to push forward and get over that hump in 2025.
Just a couple more questions for you. You mentioned the NFL and the 49ers being a West Coast guy. Are you a Niners fan or a Raiders guy, a Rams guy, a Chargers guy?
Yeah. I'm kind of all over the place. I grew up, my dad was a Niner fan from when he moved to the U.S. I don't know if he was a Niner fan when he was in Canada, but when he came to California, I think that's when he, really followed the Niners. Was a big, Joe Montana fan, all that sort of stuff. So I kind of initially started out as a Terrell Owens fan when he was on the Niners. Had a T.O. Niner jersey, and then I kind of jumped ship with him for a couple of years. Went to Philadelphia, went to Dallas, and then once he left Dallas, I was like, okay, I'll stick with Dallas for a bit. So I was a Cowboy fan for a little bit. You get the best of both. Like, oh yeah, you always get to brag about, how they had all those Super Bowls, and then finally the Steelers passed them, and they couldn't make the playoffs, couldn't win. Same with the Eagles. It was like they had that Super Bowl, that T.O. played in. I think it was the Eagles versus the Patriots, and had a close game there, lost that one. So unfortunately, now I'm just a fan of the game. I like just watching all the teams. Less heartbreak that way. I think some. All sports fans can agree, right? You get invested, and when your team loses, it definitely affects how you feel about things. So yeah. I like to just watch, and if you cheer for the winning team, you can never get your hopes or heart broken.
Yeah. Well, I know you're a Dodgers fan. You're repping the LA with the hat today, and I know they're World Series champs and a juggernaut, and probably be at the top of the heap for a while. Last one for you: if Stavros Katsantonis was not a all-star CFL football player, what would he be doing?
Oh man. I think I would be playing some other sport. I grew up playing multiple sports as a kid. I was, big into soccer. I really loved hockey playing growing up. I just didn't really get to play it that much. It's a little bit tougher to play down in California, at least when I was growing up, right? It's not like you can just walk into, you're in Edmonton and there's, 20, 30 rinks to choose from or something like that. Or you can go out, outdoors and skate on ice. It's like, oh, there's never really any frozen, rinks outside here. I think we had one rink growing up. I played roller hockey originally, but I think it would be pretty cool to play hockey if I could. Either that or soccer would kind of be my two choices. But now with how much these guys in the MLB and these golfers are making, I think maybe choosing one of those sports would have been a good idea as well.
Yeah, no contact in golf. That would have been a good career.
I don't know. That's kind of one of my favorite things about football. So I would fully, be happy with that. But
Stavros, really appreciate the time. Awesome season in 2024. All the best in 2025. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.